If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
There's only one answer, and it's Tom Brady. That's it.
So what's my one hope for Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.? The Rams have injury issues in their back end. They had to bring the great Eric Weddle out of retirement off the scrap heap to shore up their safety position. Tom Brady, albeit in a losing effort back on September 26th, did throw for 432 yards in that game that they lost 34-24. I think maybe he'll find some weak spots if he has just 2.5 seconds to throw, albeit to a Tyler Johnson who's just a possession receiver who can't separate. He's a fifth-round draft pick, obviously not the quickest guy in the world. But it's going to be Gronk. It's going to be Cameron Brate. It's going to be O.J. Howard. It'll be a little bit of Mike Evans, though he's going to be doubled every time. Or maybe it'll just be Jay Ram on him, and that'll be tough. It'll be tough for him to separate from Jalen Ramsey because he's the best in the business at what he does. And he's so physical, he can match the physicality of Mike Evans. So I don't think there's going to be any push-off physical separation. So I think it's going to be a long, hard day for Brady, but I give him a little bit of chance because of the injuries on the back end that did not manifest themselves against Kyler Murray because the Rams took off.
I mean, if Tom Brady goes back to back, the number of times I have said anything of the following, or you have, anybody on either network, any network, if Tom Brady does fill in the blank, well, then he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He has put more and more space between him and everyone else. If he goes back to back for the first time since he went back to back, then we will place him in a further stratosphere that no one will ever reach.
Wait.
So, Shannon, now I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to tell you why I still am going to hang in there, and I'm still going to pick Brady to win this game. It's because of the guy I've said from the start will be your undoing. Your Achilles heel will be Matthew Stafford. He finally broke through, and he finally won his first playoff game against an Arizona team that was reeling, that lost 4 of its last 5, only one victory against my reeling Dallas Cowboys, so I don't even count that one now. My point is that I don't, and I don't trust Matthew Stafford against a Bucs defense that I thought quietly was brought to a boil by an even better coordinator than Raheem. That's Todd Bowles. Hope he gets a head coaching job. I'm his biggest fan. I think he's Belichickian. I think my Tampa Bay defense is pretty healthy. I think it suddenly found itself right on schedule, just the way it did 1 year ago. And I never didn't give credit to the Bucs defense. It did help carry Brady to his 7th Super Bowl. And I believe it's going to help carry Brady through a game that he's going to have no business winning with his lack of weapons and lack of protection on offense.
My experience is playing against him is, basically what everybody thinks and what everybody has seen from him throughout all of his years playing football. He channels a greatness about him, and not only about him, but the way he leads his team and makes his team confident and make everybody around him feel like they're great as well is something that I personally think is the most special thing about him. So it's always tough going against a Tom Brady-led team.
Isn't his legacy already cemented? Don't you feel like we already know Brady's the GOAT? He already has all those rings. I guess I'm sort of leading the witness here, is what Stephen A. calls it. Yes. I'm guilty of often on this show. But wouldn't you say it's more so Aaron Rodgers? With all the offseason talk about him and getting that monkey off his back of winning another than Brady?
Well, we could say, again, sure. Obviously, him winning 2 puts him on Bart Starr's footing in terms of number of championships won by a Green Bay Packers quarterback. But we're still talking about second place, and maybe that makes your point that Brady's already reached a certain level that he can't actually scrape a ceiling or break through another ceiling. And I say that that's what sports is about, that, greed, for the lack of a better word, is good. That's the way he operates, and that's why Brady is unlike anyone else.
So I say Matthew Stafford is going to have to struggle for me to win this game, and I believe he will. I believe they will get pressure on him. Obviously, Shaq Barrett, JPP are back, and I think they're reasonably healthy. I still have Devin White. I have a reasonably healthy Levante David. The secondary is reasonably healthy now that Murphy Bunting seems to be back. He was practicing this week. So all of a sudden, I think I have enough firepower on defense to keep Odell to a low roar. I got nothing but respect for Cooper Kupp. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. He was simply the most productive receiver in pro football, and I dread and fear him this Sunday. But I think they can hold all of that down.
I'm thinking about the brilliance of Tom Brady, knowing that coming into the game. If it's something that happened during the game, that's entirely different because you got to make adjustments on the fly, and that might be too much for him to overcome. Yeah. There's something inside of me that says him having a week to figure it out and the game plan for any disabilities that are that he has to deal with. You know what? It's hard to bet against him. I'm just saying. I expect Aaron Donald to make his presence felt, but if you're asking me, and that doesn't necessarily mean Tampa's going to win the game. I'm just saying if you're asking me who's going to have a bigger impact, I'm still going to go with Brady because he's Brady.
It's Brady. I'll try to tell you, it's really Brady 12 that does all that magic, not Belichick. Now they can see it for their own eyes now that they separate with the championship, and now the Tom's still in the playoffs, still making noise.
I'm going to say that Brady, just on his all-time magic, that he will find a way to levitate his offense and figure a way to get them 24 points. I'm going to go 24 points for Brady's offense, and I say your offense gets held to 21. So I'll go 24-21.
I swore I would never get off of a Tom Brady quarterback team ever again if I thought they had the chance to win. And I chose him before this season. And I haven't gotten off him despite being given a mulligan by the NFL Network crew on Thanksgiving and yet last week. But the guys injured up front really, really make me nervous. LaShawn.
Yeah, now that's the biggest thing. If some guys are hurt, that's going to be tough for him.
Right.
For the team. But one thing about Brady, man, like just being there with him, like he's so aware of everything. So when they're getting pressure on him, right, you can't blitz him because he's going to be ready for that. The only team I've ever seen really play us really well because they match up well with us was the Saints. Just because they got the guys up front, and they got the guys in the back end, right? But when I look at the Rams, I don't think they don't have that, right?
You don't think they got the? Hold on a second. I got Jalen Ramsey on in hour number 3, LaShawn. I don't want to get him upset.
Oh, I mean, he's one, but that's one guy. Like listen. I mean, he's by far the best corner in the league. But I mean, he's a whole secondary. You see what I'm saying? I'm sure Tom's gonna stay away from him, right? Because I would.
Right.
And then he's got his tight ends now, right? He got the other young guys. See, Tom knows, like, he's all about matchups. So, okay, Godwin's hurt, and he's a hell of a player, and AB's not playing. He has other players with other abilities, so he's going to go for the matchups. Got the running backs, got the tight ends, Leonard Fournette's playing. So he's going to make it happen. And Tom, with the linemen, if they're banged up, he still finds a way, like, okay, now my reads have to be quicker, right? The play calling has to be a little quicker. Now, longer play actions. Like, this guy is different. He's a different dude in the playoffs. You know this.
I do. That's why I'm not getting off him again.
And Skip, another thing, I think the advantage that you guys have is that you're inside pass rushers. I think Sue, I think Vita Vea, I think they have an advantage over the guards. I think that is the weak link of the Rams offensive line. Because I think there's tackles. I think Haverstein and I think the old elderly guy, I forget his name, the left tackle, Whitworth.
Yeah.
I think they'll hold up against Shaq Barrett and JPP on the outside. The small concern that I have is on the inside because I've seen Corbin at times get manhandled. And you're dealing with two guys inside that can manhandle your guards if you're not careful. We've seen Vita Vea handle some of the best guards. All pro guards, we've seen him take them and dump them in the quarterback's lap. So you're going to have your hands full trying to deal with those guys.
You have played in a big-time playoff game against Tom Brady before, Jalen. So,
yes, I have.
And you came awful close.
That experience did not go as planned. When I was in Jacksonville in the AFC Championship game, we thought we we had their number for a while. We thought we may have had the game in the bag, and Tom Brady, just did what he always does, channel his greatness, why he's the GOAT, and came back, led his team back, and they beat us when I was in Jacksonville.
And by the way, to your point about Rams running the football, I will go on record as saying they will not. They will not break 100 against that front. That's the one thing, that front, when it's time, when it decides you will not run the ball on us, I believe they will not run the ball. I believe the game will be pushed back into the hands of one Matthew Stafford, who was 0-3 in the playoffs until he got to beat Arizona. I believe that Matt Stafford will throw 2 picks. I believe Brady will throw no picks.
He does a great job of getting other guys, Tom, I'm talking about, does a great job of getting other guys involved in the game plan as well. And I know they're getting 7 back with Leonard Fournette. They're getting him back. Tom does a good job of getting his backs involved in the game, and Leonard has had a big season, some big games this year, running and receiving.
And it will take all of Brady's goatness to pull it off, but I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to give up. I don't love it, but I'm hanging in.
You know, games like this, Skip, these are the type of games that Gronk, he be meddling around. He'll have 2 catches, and then he'll come to the playoff times, and Brady will force feed him, and he'll end up having 7 catches for $125 and a touchdown or 2. So the question is how they're going to match up. I would not be surprised on some occasion you don't see Jalen Ramsey matched up against Gronk. I would not be surprised to see that at all.
Coach McYay, as you recall, on a 75-yard touchdown pass to Deshaun Jackson, no longer a Ram, broke the game open 21-7. Yeah. Coach McYay ran all the way up the sidelines like a hairy high school coach, ran all the way up the tunnel to congratulate a receiver that he soon ran off. A receiver no longer with the Rams. And I believe that will stick in Brady's craw. I believe it sticks into the Bucs' craw. And I think just as they got even with Tyreek last year for backflipping on them, they got even with him in the Super Bowl. I believe they will get even just for Harry High School Coach McYay. That's what I believe.
Okay, so you won 2 years ago with the Chiefs. You won last year with the Bucs. If we could wave a wand and say you get a phone call from somebody saying join, or you get a phone call from somebody saying you could join any of the 8 teams left, so you could have a shot at a 3rd ring in a row, one of those rare moments, which team would you choose? You have a choice. You could go on any of these 8 teams. Which one would LaShawn McCoy choose because you feel you could go back to back to back?
If I had that decision and choice,
yes, sir,
I would start off like this. Back to back. I'm going with the Bucs. I feel like they have the best opportunity.
Rich, if anybody knows sports, it's you. If anybody knows what the people want in sports, it's you. Super Bowl matchup, ideal Super Bowl matchup. Out of what? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, the crew. I mean, everything. What's the best Super Bowl matchup for the people in your eyes?
You said it. It's Brady Mahomes. To see Brady try and do it one more time and to see Mahomes get one more crack at Brady, and then the guy that we're all assuming is going to be as terrific as he currently is for as long as Brady has done it in Mahomes, for Brady to beat him twice then in back-to-back years, I think we would be all pulled up in front of the screen to see Brady do it again.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.